having an expert today because it's a very sensitive topic because many people confuse data analytics with data science. Correct. And today we are having a session on data science. So data analytics is something we are all very much familiar with, and we try and confuse it with data science most of the time. So that is the thing. So I would not be the right person to tell about it because I am very much into data analytics at some point of time. I know a lot of about it, but data science is a whole new stream, which Pratish will be more than happy to. I guess Pratish is here. Pratish,
Hello.
can you hear us? Yeah.
Am I audible this time?
Yeah, you're audible.
All right. So I think Nipun, you can probably go on and have a brief introduction about who are probably the audience are, and then we can probably move into the session in a minute.
Yeah, sure. So I think we're going to start the session in 1-2 more minutes as audience will be arriving more.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll probably start with a very clear outline as to what you should be able to, take back with you at the end of the entire session. It shows about 55 minutes remaining in the entire duration of the talk. So when the entire talk is over, you should probably be able to clearly draw a line between what exactly is data science, what exactly is data analysis, how is it different from say machine learning or artificial intelligence. That is another sort of a term where everyone is sort of confused on. How can engineers become data scientists or data analysts, and how can non-engineers, people with a quant heavy background, probably from a commerce or a law stream, can probably pick up that skills, right? So this is the first takeaway. The second takeaway is what are some of the common courses for someone in their first or the second year, freshman or the sophomore years to sort of undertake and upskill themselves in the field of data science. And by the time they probably gain some proficiency, what should be the type of projects that they should be looking at to build their portfolio. And maybe we'll probably, move towards some of the companies which really like novice DF folders, case studies, etc. But all of that has a digital presence. So any physical good in 2020 has a digital presence, and all of that is growing at an exponential pace. There is something called as a Moore's law that every 18 months the amount of data that is there doubles, and so does the processing power. Right. So 18 to 24 months is the time. And let's not get into the technicalities. The takeaway from the entire concept is that data is growing at an ever increasing pace, and so is the ability to crunch that data and get something out of that, right? Because the difference between data and information is that data is random, and whenever you can infer something out of the data, that is information. So every company, every organization, every institution is generating data with smartphones. An average smartphone in 2020 has 28 sensors. So you generate data across every forms. It might just be how tall you are, what exactly is your weight, which exact locations are you traversing through your GPS locations, how many hours are you spending watching which particular app on your smartphone, how many hours are you spending browsing what on your smartphone. All of these are data points that you are generating 24/7 without even knowing what exactly you're generating. And all of that is sent to different stakeholders that sort of own those apps, and that leads to them. They'll have millions of users, billions of users across the world, so that data keeps on piling up. So there's a lot of data, right? And all of that data needs to be crunched into some form of information for that to be even economically viable, and that has to make some sense for someone. So the next step that comes is once you have all of that data, you need to make some sort of sense out of the data. So a very simple example that will probably start is that based on, I'm assuming all of you are on some or the other social media, right? Be it Facebook, be it Instagram, be it on Twitter. So based on your search history or based on your browsing history on that platform in the last 7, 8, 9, 10 days, which post are you more likely to interact with next is something which Facebook will want to predict. So all of the data points that you have provided to Facebook, given that you have probably interacted with your friends, you have probably interacted with some of your seniors who have got new jobs, you have probably interacted with some of your very super seniors who are probably married, engaged, or have a very significant life event. So all of that information will be taken into account, and amongst all that information Facebook will try to recommend you 3 or 4 posts that you have the most probability to sort of interact with. This exactly is why and how you sort of move towards the real world implications of data science. So let's try and move into the next step. I mean, how do you draw a line between data science and data analytics? So all of that is done. I mean, I see a comment which someone probably talks about cookies. So yes, cookies is one way through which you do that, but I mean there are a lot of other things as well. So cookies basically tracks your user behavior on a particular site and then transforms that to the other, which is a very technical level. But I mean the more broader term is that they sort of exactly do you interact with, and what exact, and they assign a probability score that Pratyush is more likely to follow sports pages more than Bollywood pages on Facebook. So let us sort of suggest him something related to sports, maybe some footballer who just got say diagnosed with a COVID-19 positive case, or maybe some footballer who just recovered from COVID-19 case is more likely to be liked or engaged by me. I mean, I can like or share or comment that story rather than probably reading about some actor who has probably shot a cat video and then maybe have put that on their Facebook profile. So this is basically how we do that. Now when we're talking about data science and data analysis, right, as we talked about that, there are a lot of data sets that us as users sort of send and provide to all these providers on the internet through various devices that we sort of use. The concept is that data is in silos. So by silos, what I mean is that I'm using something on the smartphone, I'm using something on my laptop, I'm using something on my computer, personal computer, and I'm using something on my tablet, be it an iPad, be it a smart tablet, anything. So all of that has the same login ID, right? I still have the same Gmail account across all these devices. So these all siloed information is actually taken into a particular server which talks about, which is called basically the cloud, something like a Google Drive, and that is, superimposed to make one particular profile of what Pratyush Chaudhary is, right? So they'll probably know that an average user spends 7 to 8 hours on it. You have lots of data. You use statistics to figure out some sort of an actionable insight from that data. However, a data scientist will also tell you that every time Kohli scores, a century while chasing. However, India are, say, having 2-3 wickets in the last 10 overs, India are 100% likely to win. That basically is a subset of the insight that the earlier data analyst provided, right? So basically, India is chasing, Kohli is scoring a century. However, there is only 1 or 2 players left. I mean, India are 8 down or 7 down, right? So there's just 2-3 players to follow Kohli to probably help India reach the target. That time, despite all the heroics, the chances or the likelihood of India winning that match is less. However, if someone else, I mean, if you dive deeper, Kohli's India is chasing. Kohli is on 100. He's still not out. He's still batting. However, India still have 5 more players to bat after Kohli to help India reach the target. So, data scientist is someone who has a broader understanding of the problem, who has a broader understanding of the context of the problem. So, when we probably move to the next topic, I hope this gets a bit more clearer. So let us try and talk about another term, something like e-commerce, right? So I assume most of you have probably bought one or more things on an online e-commerce platform like Flipkart or Amazon or Shopclose, Snapdeal, etc. So if I'm someone who is just browsing across a category, a data scientist versus a data analyst, right? So if I'm on an Amazon, a data analyst will know whatever I have bought across the last, say, 4 years or 5 years. All of those information is there. All of that delivery addresses are there. And all of that information is sort of used to create a profile as to who Pratyush is, what exactly might be his age, what exactly might be his annual earnings, what exactly might be his occupation, right? I mean, is he a student? Is he an engineer? Is he a, say, mid-30 senior manager or a very senior manager? Based on these things, a data analyst will try to categorize. Say, if I'm buying a 30,000 smartphone online, which is basically a OnePlus 5, 6, that range of smartphone, premium smartphone, that typically means that he's either someone in the upper middle class of the society, or at least has, his family belongs to the upper middle class of the society, right? Either he's buying it for himself or he's buying it for someone else. However, this information will be told to you by a data analyst. However, a data scientist will tell you something extra as well. What exactly is that extra field that you'll probably get? A data scientist will tell you about that Pratyush bought a smartphone, that is okay, right? But that particular smartphone was delivered to a different address. So I usually, since I am a student, I study in Varanasi. So most of my delivery orders are in Varanasi. However, this particular smartphone that I ordered was in say Visakhapatnam or say Mumbai. That typically means that maybe I bought it to gift it to someone. Maybe I bought it for my grandmother. Maybe I bought it for my uncle. I mean, who probably were not well versed with e-commerce, right? So that does not necessarily mean that I am the person who has bought that smartphone. So that data scientist will also look at additional parameters as to what exactly was the delivery address, what exactly was the time when they probably bought that. So, I mean, I'm not sure what exactly happens in other e-commerce sites, but Amazon also provides you a field as to, do you what exactly is the time when we can probably deliver at this address? Is it 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. or is it a 9 to 5? Is it an office address or is it a home address? So these two information parameters are very important for Amazon to exactly know that. I mean, is it actually your house or is it actually your professional address that you probably work? I mean, a place where you work or where a place nearby to the place where you work. I mean, it can be either of the two. So a data scientist looks at different parameters. A data scientist has more knowledge about the type of data that you're analyzing. A data analyst is someone who is just tasked with statistical analysis and computational techniques of analyzing the data. So when we talk about the audience, right? I mean, I saw a lot of people are. A lot of people are from commerce background, right? Someone who's studying economics at DU or someone who's probably at Gargi, who's a pure beginner in this field. You guys will have a lot more understanding into certain aspects of commerce, right? If we talk about finance.